Oh. Asking mine right now.
¿Cómo fue la salida de la casa?
Huh?
Y luego fuimos al otro más seguido.
Ujú.
Y pues se vio volteó a mirar. O sea, le vino prima y mi primo andaba ahí.
Have you?
No, this was fascinating.
I'm glad that she.
Seemed like the best film. Because I have times that you, yeah, I know the chair of the. They have. Yeah. Also, the chair says a lot of words, so they only interact.
You shall run.
I should run.
Huh?
Oh, that's good.
I'll give you something right now.
Excellent.
We're in the middle of it.
You get your 20.
Yeah. I was on the grind. I was on the grind. Oh, no one else will have to want to send.
No. I'll probably take one.
I'm working. No one else will have to email you right away. Not yet. Not yet. No, I have a form card. I can't make the email like look the way I want it for some reason. Last year, I think I just email it. I don't. I formatted your list in like days.
Yeah.
Looked organized and then I felt like I was like, oh, like, I was showing up. Oh, and this is what I meant. So, no. Oh my God, yours is right there.
Thank you. Yeah, I got it.
Oh, I see it now. Okay.
Right here. It's just.
That's good. I don't know what that was about.
Straight up.
Yeah, it's this Friday, it's already this Friday, isn't it? Got it?
Okay, seeing a quorum of councils in attendance, I call this meeting to order. We'll start with attendance over here with Nathan.
Nathan Allison, delegate. Did I do that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Rowan East present.
Alton Donald present.
Susana Villagomez present.
Patrick Cervera, present.
Sky Childress present.
Steffi Calero present. Maria Garcia present. Ruby Powell present. Isabel is present. Medina Amiri present. Emma Fox present.
Okay, wonderful. We'll move on to reading of the mission statement. Do I have a volunteer? Go ahead, Patrick.
To support the evolving needs of the MSU Denver students by advocating their best interests to enhance the university experience and opportunities.
Thank you so much. We'll move on to approval of the agenda and previous meeting minutes. Before we do that, Denny, do you need to give an update today at all?
Oh, no. Not today.
Okay. What if I want to note for everyone, there is no updates and announcements section of the agenda today because of how packed we are. Just consider that as you consider the agenda. With the agenda, do I have a motion for the adoption?
Should we adopt the agenda?
Wonderful. Motion to adopt the agenda from Emma. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Maria. Is there any opposition? Wonderful. We have an agenda. We will move on to approval of previous meeting minutes from February 23rd. Is there a motion to adopt the minute 23rd?
Motion to adopt the meeting minutes of February 25th.
Okay, moved by Patrick. Is there a second? Seconded by Emma. Is there any opposition? Seeing none, the meeting minutes are adopted. We will move on to public comment. It is perfect, right on time. Is there anyone here that wants to speak for public comment? Anyone online? Wonderful. Seeing none, we'll move on. If someone comes in between now and 3:47 for public comment, we will yield to them. We'll go on to old business. First with William Coates. Are you online, Will? Okay. Also, you can make your presence known. We didn't catch you for attendance. I wasn't online. I'm sorry.
Yeah, do you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, William Coates present. Um,
One
So-
sec, Will. Matt, you online? Are you present?
I am present.
Okay, wonderful. Back to you, Will, with the Backfill Space Task Force.
okay, yeah, so thank you. I brought this up to TSAC the last meeting, and I'm trying to see. Okay, Alex Staniski. He was in charge of the committee I was part of, and now he is asking for additional student government representation for this newer committee. And I just wanted to see if the council wanted to appoint a student government representative or not. That way I could just get back to him. But yeah, are there any questions about like?
Patrick, go ahead.
So what are the details, Will? What would be, what's your current meetings at right now? Schedule?
So the next meeting is scheduled March 10th at 4 p.m. But then they will regularly meet every other Thursday at 1, starting on March 19th until the end of the spring semester. That's for meeting times. I imagine they'll meet online too. That's how I've been meeting with them. So.
Okay, we're gonna do this this way, just because we can. We're just in 3 steps. First step, I'm gonna ask if anyone is interested in this. Second step, we decide if we want to appoint reps, and third step, we'll actually appoint someone, if the second one decides that. So raise your hand if you're interested in being a part of this new task force. Okay, seeing none, Will, were you interested or no?
I'm currently at full capacity, so.
Heard. Okay, I will hear a motion or if we want to try to appoint reps to this or no. Okay, seeing no motion, we'll just move on. Thank you so much, Will, for bringing that to the table.
You're welcome. So just let them know that at this time, TSAC can't fulfill their ask then.
That's what I would do. I would also ask him to keep us updated. So if he wants to send information to you, that's the easiest point of contact, but not necessarily having you represent us in that space. That would be wonderful.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to discussion on attendance for events. Susanna?
Hi, I just wanted to add this because I thought this was really important because hearing from our last meeting and attendance rise, I think we just want to have your input in this because I think as a PR committee, we've been trying to get attendance from other council, but that is kind of a difficult goal. We have tried the suggestions you guys all have suggested, like making a chat the day before the event, making sure what to get from the office or who's available, or even saying that why should I attend if one of the PR members is not there on the event. I just wanted to open the floor. I know I only have 5 minutes, but I just still want to see and just to consider our part. Some of us can't fully attend these events just because of our capacity and based on the time we basically vote on the when to meet, when everybody is mostly available.
I'll see hands for discussion. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Also, I would like to add that to the point of attendance, we have asked for council members to please sign up for the St. Patrick's tabling event and the Casa de Paz event, and only 4 council members, well, 4 people have done that. And judges feel like I think it's really hard to plan events when people are not signing up or filling out their when to meets, because then we are not able to have people there in person. So,
Emma?
You said only 4 people filled it out?
yes.
I think maybe the link was having issues or something, because it said there was 4 people when I filled it out, and I know I filled it out. So I'm wondering if like the link was having issues or.
So, I'm just gonna say like who filled it out for St. Patrick's tabling event. Only Maria, me, Irving, Susana filled it out. Casa de Paz, Maria, me, and Susana and Macy have filled it out, and nobody else.
And just to jump off that, I did create the public relation committee, has a full chat where everyone is involved. So if you guys have questions on what time is it, the day is, that is a chat. You guys are all open to like say anything, like where you guys want to reach us if we're not there for a reason.
Patrick?
Maybe if anyone right now that hasn't signed up, maybe we could take this brief moment that we have and sign up as we're going, because I see a lot of people have computers out, so we can probably sign up. Maybe as you see if you're, as Steffi said, just write your name in there, and if you're unavailable, just leave it on like unavailable. See.
I'll add myself to the stack. I've been wanting to for a second. I don't think we should make meeting time to do that right now. I do think we should set a deadline for tonight. So I propose 6:30 as a deadline for every member of the council to have their availability filled in here. If you're not available, just put that you're unavailable on the form.
I reject that because every time we sent a message, I sent a deadline. Please submit it by end of Friday by 5 p.m. And no one really signs up. So even if we do it by the end of the day, how am I gonna be able to hold you all accountable to make sure that like we have these events and people are going to these events?
And I just want to know if I can sign.
You are more welcome to sign up, like anyone, including council, and then again, you wanna.
Yes, Denny, if you have a question, you're welcome to speak. I recognize you.
Okay, now I have.
Okay.
Question was answered.
Yeah, thank you.
Just to confirm, what day is it on?
So I'm at 2 different events here. One's on St. Patrick's Day, which is the 17th, and the other is
April 9th.
April 9th. Okay, we are going to move on from the discussion point. However, I do think that it would be nice, not nice, everyone fill this out by 6:30 tonight. If you don't have it filled out, you'll get a very meanly worded DM from our PR chairs and leadership, okay?
Accountability.
And maybe accountability too. So please do. Thank you very much. We're moving on to MUN. Are you guys ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, awesome. I'll yield to you guys.
You're not, okay. Look at that,
Oh my gosh, the team.
the team. All right,
Stand on the society.
I'm clogged out also. Just want to say that. Thank you for having us. First of all, for the budget committee for meeting with us last Wednesday, and then for having us here. So what do we do? So MSU Denver MUN has been around for 27 years. The conference itself has been around for 75, so like around half of the time they've been active. We've been active with them, the yearly conference that we go to. And it is a simulation style conference of the United Nations. There are several committees. This year we're taking 10 students. They all get to participate in the committee. It is open to students of all majors through course development or volunteer participation. What's your major assignment?
History.
History. So we have a couple of history majors. We have a psych major, sports management. We usually have a lot of business majors join. And then this year, our students are seeing topics, these are not all of them, but disaster reduction for the certification and route, the impacts of misinformation on democracy and human rights, and the responsibility to protect and prevent that. Well, who we're taking over?
All right. So, our kind of big ask as MSU Denver's Model UN is we have for two countries, two main nations, we have Qatar and we have the United States that MSU will be representing at this year's MUN conference in San Francisco. In the Qatari team, we have 3 committees with 3 delegates. Our United States team, which includes me, has 5 committees and 5 delegates. So we're asking for those 8 plus 1 student coach to be funded for the trip over to frankly, one of the most important anniversaries in Model UN's history, which will be taking place in San Francisco. So a total of 9 students will need financial assistance for our registration fees for this year. Cost breakdown.
Yeah, I can go. So originally when we asked, we were taking 2 world press representatives. That number has the words. Now we're only we're just 1 world press representative. So it went from, I think it was like somewhere around like 400 to now 1,300. $1,300. You can see that the registration fee, which includes 1 advisor and then all of the students is $325, but then we have to register each candidate, which is $110 per candidate. And then the co-advisor fee is that student coach that we're asking. $75 just for 1 person. Thank you. So tell them what we've been working on.
The MSU Model UN team has been working on, quite frankly, a multitude of things over the past couple of months. And there are lots of skill growth opportunities that come with being part of MSU Denver's Model UN team. Some of those include skills in academic research, which is a very, very important skill, especially at the higher education college level. International, we go very in depth into international law, current events, academic journals, analytics of everything, geopolitics, basically. We also do a lot of essay and paper writing, which strengthens the writing skills of students who participate in our program. So if the counselors and the chairs are not aware, we're having a little bit of a literacy crisis in the United States. For me personally, and for the Model UN team, it is very important to have programs like this that strengthen writing and research aspects. We also work on public speaking, which is what I'm doing right now. I used to be terrified of it. Look at me now. Negotiation, multilateral practices, and this is a very, very big one, working under pressure. Denny is a very great student leader, and she berates us and gets on us. Make sure that we're all doing our best work. So having leaders like Denny do strengthen these skills among many, many others is very, very important to MSU Denver's Model UN team.
And what you're seeing there is one of the resolutions that we have turned in the past, and that one that actually won. So the work is real. And come back with results. Benefits to your student body. So I've noticed that our students bring their skills back into the classroom. I saw when I come back to my international law class and other international relations class, they definitely become more cooperative. Because the winning, it gets reframed that well, United Nations is no longer about if you're the best academic or if you're just doing the most work, but it's how well do you cooperate. It supports MSU's mission to foster professional growth beyond classes. The students get to experience skill growth in a simulation style outside of the classroom environment. And we go head to head with and cooperate with private universities as well as community colleges. So I think it's beneficial for our university to be really participating and, make a name in those spaces. We had a professor that went with us last year for the first time, and she's very excited about how we really go and really embrace our roles. It's sort of another joke. I came back really proud of our team last year. What is MUN? So we're going into a specific one, the regional one, which is Model United Nations of the Far West. It is hosted in San Francisco. And it is one of the oldest model UN programs in the UN. It's like inaugurated like 5 years after the first charter was signed. So this year they're celebrating 80 years of the first UN charter being signed. And we get to go to the open plenary that happens for the conference. We get to go to the Opera House where it was signed. Get to have a celebration of it. And what does that look like? Like I said, every student goes into a committee, and then we have some students that run around as a world press creating journal articles about what the committees are doing, and also about student and faculty experience. Our conference work is hefty, so we have a country profile. In this case, we have two because we have 2 countries, 3 policy statements for students, 1 resolution per student, and then at the conference they have to create 3 resolutions. Each committee is given 3 different issues, and they all have to create 3 resolutions with other schools while we're there. And it's a lot of work, research prior and at the conference. And then, what do you want to tell you?
Sure. This is kind of big. This is big for me. This is my first time, presenting myself in front of the Student Advocacy Council, which, by the way, thank you guys for having me. Although it is not the same outcome and purpose, there are very similar technical professional skills learned between, skills in TSAC and school and with Model UN. Model UN values, and this is a very, very important point, Model UN values cooperation over conquest. Even though we might have to deal with nations that are, doing very silly things in the United States. Still, our main goal is to cooperate in that conference. This is a rare opportunity for students pursuing a career in international relations. I am one of them. I do have, aspirations to be involved in local or federal politics sometime in my future. And I see Model UN as a very, big stepping stone in that way to teach me the necessary skills. And in a way, Model UN is advocating for these students to you through Model UN. And that's why we're awesome.
So accountability, oh my gosh, and our assessment. So how do we measure success? There is delegate participation and attendance at the conference session. So the conference itself, they of course do the same thing. They call for quorum. And then accountability part, if you don't submit your position papers and your draft resolutions, if you don't cooperate in the country profile, you don't get to go. And then there's always a post-conference report summarizing lessons learned and the institutional benefits to the political science department and to the student travel department. And because we know that the situation is so dire with student funding for this situation, like specifically this year, we are committing to provide a summary report and photos to student government within 2 weeks of our return.
All right, here is our general timeline. Back in October 2025, we had a conference announcement, country selections for schools and all that fun stuff. January through around now of this year, which we are currently working on, we're working on our research and our document preparations to be able to submit it to the conference this month. Slight backstep. February, there was a funding presentation to you guys, which is happening right now. Hi, guys. March, again, hi, guys. From the 17th to the 21st of April, that is when we will actually be in San Francisco and actively participating in that conference, doing the fun stuff. When we return in the latter half of April, going into May, that is when we will commit to our commitment to you, the TSAC, to give you the results that we promised and reports and pictures and kind of prove to you that, hey, this is useful for many, many students and it's worth funding. 2 thumbs up.
Thank you, guys. Questions, friends?
Okay, I'll see questions. How about a minute per question? And then while we're doing questions, can you make sure the chat is or the Zoom is pulled up so I can see any online questions? Okay, floor is open. Yeah, go ahead.
Is the application open? Or it's already done?
So we have already like got off and with funding, like this is all we're taking. When do you graduate?
2 more semester.
2 more semesters? I mean, you might be able to know. Yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk. We would love to have you.
Yeah, go ahead, Marianne.
Are you currently only asking for funds for the ticket to the conference? No hotel, no flight tickets, just for the event?
Yes, so our prior meeting with the budget committee, that's what they asked for and just wanted to be very specific and transparent with the numbers that we asked for. So I just wanted to do like a mock of what the cost would be. But yeah, just registration fees.
Is that the?
So,
Nathan?
What fundraising have you done or planning to do for this trip?
so we went through student travel already and they granted us the $800. And then our department is willing to pitch in some. And we have not, other than that, we have not done anything.
Maria?
I know you said there's a variety of majors. Have you looked at other departments as well, not just one specific one?
I mean, I discussed this in depth with my chair and right now I believe the chairs are all scrambling for money. So like I don't know how I could have the face to ask other departments for money, like we're all in the same boat. And I mean, I'm sure the budget department is feeling it with all of their requests they get.
I'm gonna add myself into the stack. What is the total cost? So yes, our funding of the 1,300 something. What's the total cost that you guys will end up paying for all 9 of you?
It's around 5,500.
And then what are the other funding sources? You said $800 from student travel and then any other funding sources besides us in your department?
I mean, our political science department is pitching some and then we're gonna see.
Okay, real. Okay. Can I get some insight from the budget committee folks? I couldn't make that. I had to send my other co-chair of sustainability as to why we asked them not to ask for the full 15 as it relates to their hotels and stuff.
Oh, sorry, it was 55. Like, it's like 500. Like, oh, sorry.
Our max is 50.
Oh.
Yeah. I was just curious from the budget committee if there was like a rationale behind us asking them to make that decision.
As far as decreasing the total amount, I don't remember specifically as why we did it towards hotel reasoning. I do know that we were considering for different budgeting just due to this whole crisis that you were kind of explaining just all around for all opportunities. We might have to review at maybe decreasing it from 1,500 to 1,300 amount that we're being distributing to these two organizations. And that's just a potential thing that we're discussing.
Emma?
Did you guys vote to just decrease that currently, or is it still at a 15, or the current, the same max? Sorry.
Harvey?
So we're currently working on making temporary changes to the guidelines. You heard from me today in the meeting, so we can have a brief discussion about this, but we're like having the limit to 15 right now. 1,500.
Okay. I want to get off that topic. We can certainly, if you have a motion on that topic, we can go to that. Otherwise, somebody.
Yeah, I thought we were covering for the conference ticket. That's what I recall from last meeting. I heard lodging and hotel. I thought we were not covering that one.
Harvey?
So they basically came for asking what can we cover. So
those two things were going over the budget for us to fund, like, those were not covering the 1,500 amount. So that specific registration amount was under our cap. So that's why we went through the registration thing.
I guess this, I have a question for Stephen. So if, what was the number, 13 something?
1318.
1318. If that remaining $182 or whatever, if they don't have a purchase that's lower than that 182, if we wanted to approve it to 1,500, would it be possible for, since it's all being paid from MSU, to split that purchase like as it gets coded, if we wanted to approve a maximum of $1,500?
Yeah, it would be challenging just from the lens of the coding, so we'd have to work in the system, the percentages of doing it. So if we just paid for the registration, cool. Then we'd have to figure out, okay, if Denny's plane ticket is $467, and again, not a terrible thing, but still just some work. I'd have to figure out the percentage split of $182 from us, and then whatever they're getting from student travel. So
Is that something that CMEI's budget person and political science's budget person could work on together, or would it have to be something that you and their chair coordinate?
it's me.
Okay,
It's me.
Denny?
If I may add a comment, and if this was part of the flight quote that we did. But because it is a 5-day thing and everybody's supposed to be in formal wear the whole time, we are purchasing check-in bags. So each bag is like $40 per trip, so 40 going and then 40 back. So, you know, like if that makes things easier, and then that would help just not have all of that convoluted conversation of percentages and stuff, we would also be really grateful.
I think the question we're considering is whether or not to approve this funding request. I think we should approve $1,500 as a maximum, and at the discretion of Stephen, how he needs to manage his ability to make those purchases. I want to hear discussion on that, and then a formal motion, and then we can move on. If there's any discussion anyway. Emma?
Because we could fund, I would agree with that. I think that's fine. But if we did cover the bags too, that's $720 for there and back for 9 people, which would also get us closer to the 1,500 if we wanted to provide more funding instead of running the numbers.
Is there any, so barring the logistical considerations, are there any like disagreements with funding a full $1,500 for these 9 students? Okay, then I'm gonna make a motion. I motion that we approve a maximum of $1,500 for MU and strip, and that can be deliberated with Stephen on what purchases that covers.
I will second.
Seconded by Maria, made by Sky. Is there any discussion or debate? Okay, seeing none, is there any opposition? Wonderful, that passes unanimously. Congratulations. Any last things from you guys?
Thank you. Yeah,
Appreciate it.
yeah, we've been struggling, stressing, so thank you so much. We appreciate. Any other questions that you have? Anything specific that you would want to see in the report, I guess?
I just really want the photos.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, please contact us if you want to change anything about the specifics, about exactly what you want within the 2 weeks after our return.
Yeah.
We will be very glad to provide it to you.
It's wonderful.
Thank you.
I'm glad to hear Rob supporting you in that too, so. Yeah, okay,
Thanks, guys.
thank you. We'll move on to add a chapter of Monday.
I'm not presenting.
So we should present.
Well, it says right there from 3:55 to 4:30. I don't know who was the one.
We're a little early if they're not ready yet,
Yeah.
that's okay. Okay,
Still not coming in.
wonderful. Given the next few items of business are not ready yet, we're gonna move on to an open floor that I'm just gonna throw out there. If there's any open floor discussions and items that people want to talk about, now is your time. Otherwise, we'll move on to, I guess, our first item of new business. Maria?
Yes, I'll talk about the Board of Trustees meeting that happened and give everyone updates. So there were 9 new approved programs and then 12 discontinued programs. Something that I didn't know about the discontinued programs is that people who know, or students that are no longer able to major in a specific program, they have 2 years to be in that program. And after that, they work with them towards finishing it, but they don't allow anyone else to apply for it again. And then retention from spring graduate enrollment grew. And this is from spring 2025 to fall 2025. By graduates, it increased 4.22%, and undergraduates, it increased 0.24%. And then Pell eligible students increased to 0.3%. And then something that they came in to talk to us about was an intervention pilot with a class called PSY 1001. And this is a class with the highest rates of DFW rates. And 1 of every 3 students earns a DF or a W in this class. The whole point of this class was for students, for the whole purpose of this class that they did with this is that they reduced course content by 20%. And then they replaced large writing assignments with some smaller formative in-class assignments that have strategic applied components. And then there was also teaching assistants, learning assistants, and supplemental instruction leaders for both inside and outside class support for the in-person class sections. And then as a result of this intervention in fall 2025, it was 30% of these students had a DF or W. And then with this intervention class, it went down to 16%. So that was pretty impressive. And then an update on our capital projects is that they remain on budget, on schedule, and on track with minimal risk. These include the Summit House, the 1st and 2nd floor have concrete decks, and the Gene Frank Day Health Institute has had site mobilization, tree removal, earthwork, and foundation preparation. And then the pool info project, it is being finalized and decision-making is being done with that, as well as our day at the Capitol, which is March 13th. I was told that we have received input on that. I will get back with everyone on that, see how we can register whoever's interested with that. With that, I conclude. If you have any questions.
Corporal codes?
Yeah, it's funny. So something that's been on my mind lately is how there seems to be a larger gap between expectations of assignments and the growing struggles for commuter students, and personally how I think a lot of students are running out of funding as well and have to turn to other means to make ends meet. It's just a bit concerning because I do believe the student populations we serve as a university over the years are likely going to have a harder and harder time doing well in higher education. So it's just something I've been noticing over the few years of schooling I've had. To Maria's point about certain courses and workloads to courses and how many students just can't afford to put in that time and energy.
Okay, we have about 4 minutes left. Is there anything else on this report back from the trustee that we have discussion points on? Okay, seeing none. Lambda, are you guys ready?
Yes.
Wonderful. I'll give the floor over to you to start.
Hello, everyone. First and foremost, thank you for taking the time to see us present. We are two members from Advocacy Missouri Incorporated. I am Brittany Perez.
And I'm Jennifer Silva.
This is our teacher. So we are attending the DS conference. It's going to be in California State University of Chico. The theme this year is Rosas y Raíces, Our Roots Continue. It reflects a community and a commitment of standing together to make an unbreakable community for Latina women. It is a conference that is packed with leadership, workshops that builds communication, and of course, endless opportunities to connect with fellow other sisters and networking opportunities. So who's going? I am attending. You guys know Susana over there. She's also attending. It is a graduate kind of opportunity for us. And then we have Jenny over here. Our alum advisor is also required to attend, but she's paying out of pocket, but she's also attending with us. Just to get a little bit to know about our organization, we do have 45 active chapters in 11 different states. And then here in Colorado, we have 3. So that's just kind of a wide variety of different networking opportunities we able to get.
And then, of course, why we want to attend. We are wanting to attend the National Convention in California State University of Chico because it values an academic professional development opportunity that aligns with Metropolitan State University of Denver's mission to provide a high-quality, accessible education that prepares students for successful careers in lifelong learning. We are also connected with NALA, which is the National Association of Lambda Alumni, meaning a lot of our sisters that are already graduated have are going to be in attendance. So it's a great way for us to kind of network with them and see how their careers are kind of going and see how we can do them. And the relationship between MSU Denver and the conference, it provided educational workshops, keynote presentations, and scope and seminars that strengthens our competencies essentials for academic and professional sessions success. So this opportunity supports them to first commitment to scholarly inquiries that apply learning beyond the classroom, and obviously we'll be able to apply what we have learned in our academics and our campus involvement to future careers and things like that, such as leadership, public speaking, and teamwork and professional communications. So we learn a lot of this in like the classroom and things like that. So no better way to kind of execute them in an actual conference where you're kind of based off Latina women. And the learning outcome that we have is obviously develop leadership and professional skills applicable to academic and career settings. We also have enhanced cultural competency and global awareness to diverse engagement, improved communication, networking, and professional development skills, while also applying strategies that strengthen our academic success and career readiness.
Okay, so for our funding overview, we did use student board funding to cover our registration tickets, $400 for each, so it's a total of $800 for both of us. For our CMEI funds, we are going to use those for our Latina Youth Leadership Conference, which we're having in April for young women, young ladies, and girls, and from middle school and high school who are Latinas, who are just kind of like want to make sure that there is an opportunity for higher education and that they have a community outside of just their schools right now. For lodging, we are requesting 582 with 57 cents, which is subject to change. For 4 nights, which is 138 with 37 cents per night. We are requesting also for funding, which is 257 with 38 cents for 3 students. Okay. Just again, we are going to be staying from the 19th to the 23rd, just because that way it allows us to go to the pre-conference orientation, which is happening on the 19th. And then they have a final session on the 23rd, so we can participate with that. Just an overview again, it's going to be a total of 807 with 62 cents for 3 students for flights, which is 257 with 38 cents per student. And it's going to be a total of 582 with 57 for lodging, which is 138.37 per day, which is for 4 days. And then with the $29.10 fee, which is also subject to change, but we are requesting a total of 1,390 with 19 cents per fee.
Okay, I'll open the floor for questions. Nathan?
So what's this convention all about?
It's essentially a networking opportunity for us, and it is going to be our 40th anniversary, so they're having it in the same founding school. And it is for us to connect, to get workshops, and to kind of just really with the times that are kind of occurring to be like, we are still here, the Latinos still have a community, you guys still have somewhere to go. just kind of really emphasizing that we have an opportunity post-grad, because it is a graduate kind of conference. So it is like whatever you need help with, whatever you have problems with. I know I'm very much excited about it because just for the networks and opportunities to get to see what's out there. And especially like post-grad, because I'm kind of still figuring it out, to hear different stories and to hear different points of view, what I can do.
I'll go next. When are you two graduating here?
It's me.
This May? Nathan again?
Yeah. Do you mind going into details what you're networking with?
So it's gonna be other alumni. Like I said, we do have about 40 chapters and the 3 here. So it's gonna be pretty much everyone. I know that our founding mothers are gonna be there. I know the LFD is gonna be there, or Mesa Directiva. So it's essentially a big branch of different alumni that all have different careers in different places. And so
Kind of to add on that, since our own alumni advisors attending, that means other chapters are bringing their alumni advisor. So it's a great way to connect with other students that have already graduated, just to kind of see what kind of route they have and how we can kind of work with them.
Patrick?
Yeah, so obviously this isn't more of like too much focus on academic and higher education, right, in the social status where you guys are cultural being. How will your knowledge be shared here at MSU?
Yeah, definitely. So I actually have the marketing chair in our sorority, so it's definitely ingoing here. Like I'm telling the story that I have gone through, or the people I've connected with our sisters here and other chapters that couldn't attend. Of course, money just kind of is tight overall. So it's kind of, you can't take every single person here. So definitely kind of being there and kind of giving that story through my eyes and things like that, as well as we plan on doing some type of workshops and things like that to kind of emphasize on what we learned, to kind of bring some students, either us or our event that we're having for our adults.
Maria?
Are only graduating students from your sorority the ones attending?
yes.
How many members do you guys have in your sorority?
Currently, we have 9 active.
Nathan?
How much fundraising have you done outside of asking for student council?
We have done a few. Now coming into March, we are planning to have around 3, but we are kind of dispersing the funds just because we do really want to have our LYLC this year. But funds are kind of tight with CMEI at the moment. So we're kind of putting more emphasis on the Latino Youth Leadership Conference just because we feel like that would be more of an impact. But we are still fundraising. We're going to have 2 upcoming ones this upcoming week for our Founders Week. And then we're still getting creative about creating events as well.
Patrick?
This question for last year, 2 questions in one. How many students were in your chapter last year? And do you guys attend the conference last year as well?
We did, well, my chapter did attend. I think there was 4, to be honest. I'm not really sure if I'm being honest. I can't fully answer that way. 2.
We started late last semester, so we're kind of like moving forward through it, but it was only 2 attending, and then I believe
3 in total. So you guys went from 3 members before attending the conference to elevating to 9 members after getting a little bit more experience. Okay. So it does seem like it does help out a lot.
Dalton?
Can I move that we approve this request?
Yeah.
I second it.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? I have one point of discussion. I wanted to ask, there was a couple items that were subject to change. When's the last time you checked the numbers on that? And then how much would you expect it might change between now and when you purchase it?
I kind of personally looked into the flights as of last night, and it looks like they went up around $19 per person. And the Airbnb or the housing kind of went down $9. We're still kind of sitting around the same area. But of course I haven't checked today.
Okay.
You can check.
Can you, what was the number that you're requesting again?
It was 1,000.
Okay. So there's a motion for us to approve 1,390. I think that because of that subject to change, we should push it up just a little bit and make it 1,450, just in case. That's $60 extra in case it goes up a little bit. Is that amenable to the authors of this motion? Okay, wonderful. That amendment is friendly. That's the Robert's Rules process. Now we move on to the question is 1,450. Is there any opposition? Okay, congratulations. Thank you so much. Any last things?
We're just had a quick question. We are due to departure, I want to say 2 weeks, 2 weeks and a half. We're just gonna process the same, kind of what the process of that would kind of look like.
You should talk to Steven over here. He's able to make this purchase.
No worries. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We can talk. If you're around tomorrow, we can figure it out and we can start booking everything.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you guys for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good day. Okay, question for the council. We have about 12 minutes before Davidson's likely to show. How do we want to spend the next 12 minutes? We took updates off. Tony's here. She can start early. We do have her after Davidson, but that's up to you. Emma.
I was just gonna say, if we have any more open for any.
Is there anyone, because we didn't have updates and things, so Faye.
This is tangentially old business, but I have a meeting. I sent a message in the chat about this earlier, but I also just wanted to ask here in meeting if anyone has any questions, comments, or concerns that you would like me to bring to the meeting that I'm having with the chair of the art department specifically about the arts activation committee. I obviously have my own, but would love to hear anything else from anyone.
Okay, I'll open for hands on the arts activation fee. And I know we've appointed a ad hoc committee on this. It was you and Patrick were the chairs of that. And I imagine this is sort of part of that role. Is there any other debate or questions about like how that committee should run and how we should get this? I'm assuming the end result of this is like a resolution written for us to endorse a fee. So. Can we also get the teams pulled up so I can see also just in case there are heads? Okay, seeing none, because I have one thing. They promised us numbers at some point, and I don't know if those have been sent to us or I just missed them about something. I don't remember what it was, but if you could get those, review over our notes and find out what we asked them for and get that thing for us. I forgot. Matt probably knows more because I think it was one of Matt's questions. There was some sort of like engagement numbers from last year. I think it was something I forget that we wanted to see. When I see it, I'll be like, oh yes, we requested this. But this moment I cannot remember.
Got it.
Yeah, those numbers from the yeah, that. Emma.
On a new topic, I was just gonna let you guys know that SAB deliberations completed. And that like funding for like we had extra money for everything. Like there was nothing that was getting like slashed funding, which was kind of good news. Like in the worst case scenario. I don't know if that makes sense, but.
Well, I guess on the question of SAB, what were the projections for enrollment next year then?
Maybe Stephanie has more information on this, but I don't remember the exact projection. But in any scenario with like a 1% decrease or increase, we still had extra money to give to programs. So theoretically, most programs should be seeing either like some form of increase at some point. So that's good news.
When are you guys' deliberations made available?
We finished the actual deliberations on them, but we have to our numbers guy has to run all the numbers on it. And then we don't really get anything until we're a little bit later, and then we'll present in June after everything is completed.
Present to the trustees?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. But within the next few weeks, there should be a final proposal from SAB to Simpkins and then Simpkins to the president and the president to the, that's later, but we should have at least that first step sometime in the next few weeks.
Yes,
Can that be shared with us at some point too?
it should be, yeah.
Okay.
We just have to wait for it to actually like make sure everything, like right now it's just in like a Excel like land, so.
When Sam gets those numbers, I would love to have someone, either you guys presenting to us with those numbers or have Sam come and talk to us about them. I'd love to see like what decisions have been temporarily made until pending the approval of the trustees.
Yeah, I think me and Steffi would be fine presenting those, but I just wanted to let you guys know that regardless, everything should be getting like theoretically more money. As long as everything goes according to plan with every contingency was at an increase this year, which was nice.
Did you guys have a contingency plan for if the arts fees?
We do, yes.
Okay.
Yes, in that case, everyone that what they asked for gets approved and then we put more things in.
Yeah, okay.
Categories.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, the floor is open for open floor updates and announcements, not necessarily business, but. Susanna.
Well, I have an update on y'all. I did take the suggestion of the library. I did communicate them. It was super fast. I did got a message today that they were able to do it. Just to keep in mind that they close at 8 p.m. They said that we were able to bring snacks, promote it, and make the cafeteria, the library cafeteria, place to study. That's all.
Okay, seeing no more hands, I'm gonna close open floor. We have 5 minutes. How do we want to spend this time?
5-minute recess?
Any staff updates?
I mean, I would yield my time to Tony since she's here out of respect for her time.
I'm also happy to do that. I just wanted to make sure the council wants. Is that cool? Great. We're gonna get Tony until President Davidson comes and then we'll still have her afterward. Okay, yeah,
If necessary.
yeah.
So
Right.
hi, y'all. Thanks for considering supporting your peers in student organization leadership. Are folks aware of what I'm talking about? Yes.
You should make us aware.
All right, I'll make sure everybody's on the same page. So every year through SAB, we receive some campus event funding that then is filtered to student organization leadership for their endeavors and the things that they're trying to do on campus. We've had a banner year this year for student organization events. So between the beginning of September through 2 weeks ago, we had 95 student organization events happening on campus, which is pretty awesome. Many of them included asking for funding, and then some of those were actually travel. So, but to that, we are now out of student organization money. And so as you heard our friends with Lambda Theta Nu and the Latina Youth Leadership Conference, this is something that would have typically funded them. And so it's really a concern of mine that we can still find some other avenues to support our student organization leadership. And so that's why I'm here today and asking for you all to kind of consider doing that. Given that, though, I think there's some recommendations that I would make if you decide to move forward with something of this nature. It's clearly a big beast. And so wanting to make sure you all know what you might be getting into and then maybe some ideas for management. Sound good? Okay. So I'd say that the campus event funding is a very, very structured process. And even with that very structured process, we have a lot of student questions and not following of the processy as it is. And so I would say if you create a process, it needs to be very, very concise and very, very structured so that, again, students are busy, their family, they're doing all the things. And so sometimes if things are too ambiguous, it gets to be really hard, and then just creates frustration and they give up, and that can give them kind of a bad experience with TSAC, and we want them to have a really positive experience with TSAC. So I would encourage that. And also just making sure that to that structured process is the return on investment there, right? So if they're investing a lot of their time to go through the process, is the time worth the money that they might be getting back from that process? So making sure that your process is timely and balanced, right? So for example, if you're going to ask for a presentation, when and how would that happen? How long? Is it virtual? Is it in person? All of that, so folks can really decide how much time they'd be putting into that.
And then this is something that I've learned in my role with campus event funding is once you've figured out a deadline, stick to it. Be consistent, because the orgs will always come back, because they're doing a million things and say, but can you make an exception? And if you start making exceptions for one, you have to make exceptions for all. And then, your head explodes like mine does regularly. And your lead time is going to be longer than my lead time, right? Because this is a process that I'm at my job every day and I have the opportunity, but you all have different things. You only have these meetings, different times. And so making sure that your lead time fits. And also you'll be asking your wonderful advisors with my support, to be making those purchases and making those things happen. So you want to make sure there's lead time for all of that part to also happen. Now, and also with that lead time, there's only 10 weeks left in the semester, and that includes spring break. And so be thoughtful. An alternative that I was thinking of, which would still be another way to benefit student org leaders and just have some of these smaller presentations and not like the bulk, would be to maybe have something where TSAC hosts maybe bi-monthly or something, like a big club. You rent the 320s, you have some pizza. Round table over here is for this club, round table over here is for this club. People who are interested in joining the club can come in and see what's going on. Because the big things that people ask for money for is food for refreshments and food for their meetings, refreshments and food for their recruitment, celebrations, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, end of semester, and then recruitment stuff. So I think doing something like that would be something you would have a little bit more control over in terms of just making it happen and less people coming in and out of your meetings. And then with a process for larger events like the Lambda Theta New Leadership, Latina Leadership Conference, sorry, which is an amazing program. Phi Theta Kappa has an induction ceremony, the aviation safety symposium. Those are kind of the things that I know are on the horizon there, and they're going, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Yeah, questions, thoughts, things people want to talk to me about?
I think I have a question.
Susanna?
Do you think funding like this is gonna probably continue to next semester? Because I think this is the first time my past 4 years that I run out of money.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll be addressing. No, that's true. Yeah, no, let me, two things. Clearly this position, my position was empty for a little while, right? And so during that time, I think there was a little less outreach to the organizations, a little less like streamlined what was happening because there was a lot of interim stuff. So as we've been doing trainings and telling people about stuff, they're like, I've been in a club for 3 years. I didn't know we could do that. And so I think just as we've gotten more efficient and the club team has gotten more efficient, clubs have realized, and so more people are taking advantage of it. And I think on top of that too, prices have gotten more expensive. So the things that we're doing cost more. And last but not least, last year we had a significant roll forward. And so we were able to use all that roll forward. We don't have roll forward this year. And so that also kind of kicked us. We have 150 active organizations right now, which is more than we've had for the last 2 years, I think, and truly active, like doing a lot and like advertising a lot. So I think that's part of it, is that it's just been more of a popular opportunity for folks. Moving into the next year, I'm really, we're going to be doing some evaluation with the org team and with Stephen and everything to see if, because as is natural, when somebody tells you have up to this amount of money to spend, you spend up to this amount of money. And so potentially drawing that maximum down a little bit, and then trying to be really strategic with the orgs who are throwing those big events about how they can make their money go the farthest they can. But good question.
Nathan?
Yes, I do want a comment and then a question. I do want to comment that growing student organizations is fantastic. I think having a bunch of students is a good thing, but having a bunch of scholars is better. So going around, learning new things, trying new things is fantastic for college. Going forward, if we continue to push and encourage people to join organizations, build their own clubs, do more events, I feel like this program could, exponentially grow when it comes to needing funding.
Yeah.
Do we have any plans for such a for like the next semester, if this, goes up another 10% and next semester another 10%, more organization, more involvement.
Yeah, so when I presented the SAB, I said that exact thing. Please give us enough money. And I think too, just being more.
That's why you make room.
I'll just finish answering Nathan and then I'll wrap up. But just making sure that we are also trying to find as many ways we can to teach students to fundraise, using Day of Giving, for example, and things like that to help them.
Thank you so much, Tony. We'll catch back up with you after.
I was feedback and then.
Yeah. President Davidson, Ed Brown, do you guys want to come chat with us for a little bit?
Yeah.
Making a lot of room for me.
Well, I feel like there's not a lot of space in this room. These chairs are really close.
I just did this.
Or you can come over here, that's fine.
You can even back over.
Oh, that's fine. Hello.
Hi.
How's everybody doing? They have name tags. Are those new? Did you have those before? Those are new. Did you?
They're
newish. You learned the trick. That was in my class. We taught them the trick. It's not a good. This one doesn't say. Yeah, this one doesn't work. If you want to say something, you put up your tent. Right? And then whoever's managing the conversation will be able to fit you in. And it's a good thing when you have some people who are more extroverted than other people. Right? Those kind of meetings where some people never get a word in. So it helps. And then if you want to say something like that isn't like a new topic, but like just a certain point on that thing that was just said, you hold up 2 fingers. That's how it works. All right, well. Am I just supposed to start talking?
You have the floor.
I'll hand the floor over to you. Yeah, please do.
Is that
I said, yeah, please.
introduce or invite me to say something? Yeah, well, okay, hi. Thanks for having me here. And you all know Ed. He's the chief of staff. He makes things happen around here. I just say things. Usually it's because of Ed. So I'm really curious to hear from you all. I understand you are curious to hear from me about just about anything, it says this list. So let me just give you a couple things that are like really top of my mind, sort of big things that I would love to hear what you have to say about. So this time of year, we tend to start getting very focused on budget, which is kind of boring, but you guys are all part of that process, which I think is really important. The way it works is I usually put out a guidance document back in the fall, where I will say, that what my main priorities are, just to make sure we don't lose track of the big things. And the big things obviously are student success, but there's all kinds of things associated with that. I also make a point to say that it's important that we protect how we support our employees, right? I mean, like literally nothing happens on this campus without our faculty and our staff. And so it's really important to me that we are paying them competitively, that we are promoting them adequately, that we are providing them professional development, and that they really know how to do their jobs. I think we're doing a pretty good job on that, and more every year. But it all goes into the fact that running a university is really about people. I mean, it's not a machine kind of place. And so really investing in people really is important. The other thing that's really going on in this campus and like this year and moving along is infrastructure, as you can see. So these buildings that you can see out here, 12-story student housing, they don't just happen. I mean, there's a huge group of people that, spend a lot of their time. They don't have extra time, making sure that these things work. So it takes up a lot of our bandwidth. It's really important. So I want to give a bit of an overview of things. You may know most of this, but it's interesting. I'll pass this around. These are some
These are some maps that AHEC has put together. All the things that are going on this campus, like construction wise. I mean, it's a lot. So there's the big, huge things. I'll toss some of this way so now. MSU is in the lead on 3 of these things. The student housing, 12 stories with the classroom to career hub. And the Health Institute Tower, which we just broke ground on, which is on the south side of the west classroom. And also we are working on remodeling, or actually converting the old empty pool into a multi-use space. So all those are areas where I'm sure students have had input, will have input. I mean, the Health Institute's happening, student housing is happening, but there's still, I think, time. Will, looking at you, have they had input, student input into that event space pool? We should probably, yeah, we should make sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a big empty room, basically is what it's going to be. But, you know, the real governance will be in like who uses it, how and where, but it's mostly to, you know, for athletics, campus rec, and then events. So it'll be great. Meanwhile, Auraria is in the lead for the workforce housing, which ought to be about seven-story building with the early childhood learning on the bottom. That'll be about what? How many units? About? Do you remember? I think we're still working it out. But that's, yeah, it might be like 170, less than 200 units. But that's for like faculty, staff, maybe some working students might qualify to live there. It's about a certain affordability range. So that's actually pretty cool. Back to my point about supporting faculty and staff. And campus is also doing that safety building, right? So to move the police units out of that, the AHEC police out of the admin building into there. So it'll be more respectful environment for them and the students that they deal with and then others. And then it'll also have space for the criminal justice departments from all 3 schools. That's over where those trailers are. That's where that's going to be. And then they have a lot of other, you know, maintenance things happening all the time. So you're going to constantly see a lot of construction, things that like you don't see, but if it were broken, you would see. You know, HVAC, you know, heating, ventilating, you know, all those kinds of things. And then this building, the Tivoli Reimagined project, which right now they have like a concept that they need to put into the state system to get it on the radar. We probably won't get funding for a couple of years, but that gives us a lot of time to like really work on the design. And we talked about this was that last week that we met, Sky? The week before? I don't know, sometime. It's all blurring together. But yeah, that I think is an area where students and student government should get pretty engaged as the process unfolds. Nothing is set, the design's not set. There's just like concepts and ideas that are pretty good. I mean, that they have really worked hard on and taken lots of input on in terms of how to make this historic building as student focused as it possibly can be. You know, it's been historically a commuter campus. It's kind of moving into like a mixture, but still you really need places where you can gather, hang out in between classes, and although that's like top of mind, but there's so much else going on in this building. So I'm kind of excited about the Tivoli Reimagined project because this is such a historic building. Aside from the Union Station, think about this building. You think about Denver, right? So I think that you guys have a really good opportunity to get your voice in on that as well. So that's infrastructure. So it's big, big, big top of mind. The other big top of mind issue for me is artificial intelligence. You've heard of this. You know, what is it that universities can do to really set our students and graduates up for success in an AI-enabled world? I got to tell you, it changes every 2 weeks. There's new things, people talking about it in new ways. Faculty are very concerned about asynchronous online courses. We don't want a situation where robots are just talking to robots, which we know happens. And so this is an issue across all of higher ed when it comes to that. And so we'll be working on that. I'd love to get some of your input on that. And of course, issues associated with policy, ICE, big concerns with students. I know they had was it a town hall or not? It wasn't that big though, but a real good forum where, I mean, if there's one message I have for folks in that area, it's that this campus really watches these issues closely and does everything it can to provide whatever support and information we can. I mean, ICE, I've said this before, they are required to have a warrant to come into these buildings. SACAP put up a proposal to the area board to make it so that all the publicly oriented buildings on this campus will model the process that we MSU have for the SSB, which I think is a good idea. So generally you need to have swipe access to get into most of the classroom buildings, but the Tivoli, like the King Center, the library, even the JSSB, they have sort of this open area. So in the JSSB, what we've said is if there's an indication that there are people on campus that are trying to get in buildings that shouldn't be getting in buildings, that we will flip the switch and make it card access only. And that way they have to come and talk to either our general counsel or the chief of police in order to present, their credentials and any kind of a warrant. So I think that's a really good safeguard. And anyway, other than that, I think it's just really important that people know their rights and they know what's happening. There's still a general sentiment, of course, there's always a non-zero chance, but a general sentiment that generally university campuses are not the preferred places that ICE wants to go anyway. And so, but we can't necessarily just shrug that off and say, it doesn't matter if you're nervous, of course you're nervous. It's happening in the news and lots of other places, whatever we can do to support, and also legal advice and things like that. So those are some of the big issues on my mind. The budget, the state budget this year will be tight, but my message to the campus is that MSU Denver is in a really strong position. We have really, really smart budget people that have been really savvy, and it keeps us kind of not completely inoculated from budget cuts, but also in a stronger position than a lot of other universities. If you read the news, you'll see, in the headlines, universities running deficits, in debt. We're not that. We're not that. I mean, everybody has some debt. People have mortgages and car payments. Same thing with a business. That's not the same as deficit. A deficit is when you're spending more money every year than you actually have. And we do not do that. And in fact, we've been building up our reserves over the past couple of years. So we have a very disciplined budget process that I'm pretty proud of because we've been improving it every year. It's very inclusive. Also the process to build the budget and the execution of the budget, and it's always evolving. So that puts us in a stronger position than many other universities might have going into a budget season like this. So those are the things that are top of my mind. Happy to take questions or hear what's on your minds.
Nathan.
Yes, Nathan.
So regarding AI, like I said, I'm going into machine learning and data infrastructure. I highly encourage assignments to actually involve AI, where you can take what you learned, write it out, submit it to AI and get feedback, and you can share the feedback with your professor. I think trying to avoid it or trying just to work with it in a kind of a nuanced sense is doing more harm than good.
Is that happening? People are trying to avoid it?
Yes, I know professors if you can use AI, make sure quote it. And I do know students that are trying to avoid the fact they are using AI. I think we're not thinking of it like a tool, and I hate to say it, but I'm going to throw my Java teacher under the bus. I'm learning better from AI than I am from my teacher when it comes to my Java class, because my teacher will bring over something. And then I was like, I didn't really get that. I asked my AI, it goes into a lot more better detail. But that just goes to show that, in my opinion, if we were going to have assignments or online or studies or or tests or things like that, honestly should start considering using it like a tool. Don't embrace the idea that, hey, if you're going to be doing something, if you're writing this, submit it to AI and get what your feedback from it and submit both. Like, and then take what you got from AI, take what you got and make something together. Use it as a tool.
Because it could be that it's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And it could be
Bring it into the professor and you chat it out, right?
Exactly. And that's the one thing that when it comes to AI, that at least in my opinion, by trying to just avoid it or trying to just work with it or just accepting it, both of those aren't a good answer. We should just like have an interaction with it. But I rambled up a little too much, but yes, that's what he's.
Well, and what about also some help learning how to use it at a deeper level?
I 100%
Like,
can agree with that.
You know, large language models and like, how do you actually create them? What do you do?
So my personal experience when it comes to programming, AI will do the task will do the task correctly, but it will not do it efficiently all the time. A great example of this is like I can tell it to make a code, but there's like two ways to do it. And with the problem with AI is that there's no correct way. One company will say this is correct, the other company will say this is correct. So knowing both is very helpful, but also knowing what you need for the assignment is even more helpful.
I guess it would also depend on the class.
Yeah, and of course, like if you're going to be interacting with AI, like I don't know if we need to teach students how to interact with AI, but I'm thinking that we should just start like understanding what we're dealing with. Another fun example is with my aerospace professor. We were supposed to find a personnel in aerospace, a famous person, and find a subject of that. And the AI actually came up with completely fake person. But keep in mind, I was talking to her about the assignment, and we were going through the people together. And when he asked the AI literally just made people up.
Just made stuff up.
Yeah. So on that, it was right in front of the professor. But once again, interaction is very important. And I want, in my opinion, students need to interact with it. They don't need to obey it. They don't need to listen to it, but they do want to interact with it. Treat it like a separate person,
There's other things too, like, when you get out into the working world at a company and you're trying to figure out, could I use AI to help with this problem or that problem? And then how do you design it in order to do it? That's a deeper level. Like if we were to say, we want an AI system that takes all the stuff associated with Nathan Allison's journey through MSU Denver and beyond, and could actually snake through and put all those pieces together in ways that are better than we do it now. That
would be a very helpful tool.
We're gonna take one more hand on the AI question, then we'll move on to another one since we only have a few more minutes. Will?
Yes, thank you, President Davidson, for being here today, and Mr. Brown. Hey, Will. I would add on to Nathan's point. I don't think it's enough to just work with it. I think we need to become more aware of the ethical use of AI and the implications of what AI means and how it's going to shape the future, because that cat is out of that bag and there's no putting that cat back in the bag. So I still think, though, as a tool, we can misuse our tools, right? And I still think students should have some awareness as to how their AI usage might affect them or others negatively. And I think with what Nathan is saying, it would be beneficial to work with it, because even if you try banning it, students are using it and they find ways to, go through the AI detectors. So I don't think banning it is an effective way to approach AI, but I do think on top of somewhat what Nathan is saying is considering teaching the ethics of AI usage.
Is there a task force or committee on AI here that we could join? Because I don't think that's one thing we haven't really.
Yes, as a matter of fact, no and yes. No, there isn't. Yes, there is about to be. So we were just talking about how it should be structured, whether it's a task force or whatever, and literally this morning. So we will definitely make sure that they have student inputs or somehow we are, you know, it's easier to say we need to solve this problem, that problem, but we want to structure it in a way that brings a lot of different voices to the table.
We would love an invite whenever that committee gets formulated. Okay, I'll see other hands for questions. Emma.
I would like to return to kind of talking about the, I guess this is the combine two of the things you talked about, both like infrastructure and budget. As far as the new student housing, I have a lot of like thoughts on that, or maybe not thoughts, but maybe like questions.
Yeah.
Like one is the price of that intended to be competitive? And if so, are they on track with that budget? I know a lot of the times that's can be very inconsistent.
Yeah. We are, so the project was designed to pencil at an affordable rate for students, at a competitive, affordable rate. The project is also designed in a way that we will try to also have scholarships for lower income students to offset the cost. And it is on schedule and budget right now, probably because it hasn't snowed. Here's what's gonna happen also, you know, it's what they call mass timber. So instead of having a lot of stick-built frames and then drywall and concrete, it has 2 or 3 stories that are like the podium, they call it, more concrete. And then when they start building with 3 or 4 to 12, that's when the mass timber happens. And it's already been delivered, and it's a much faster way to construct. So they say it will take 8 days per floor. So you've seen how long it's taken them to put the first 3 up. And like next week or this week, they're going to start it, and you're going to start going boom, 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 boom.
It's framed, third floor framed
Yep.
today.
Okay.
And they're putting some of the cross beams on the top so you can actually
It's
see.
fast. It's kind of cool.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then my
8
second
days of floor, not for the whole floor, but to get it start. I mean, then you got to come in, you got to do the interior and all that stuff, like to framing front. We're going to have a 12-story building, you know, in like however many weeks, 8 days a week is 8 days of floor is, yeah, like May. And then they'll be finishing it. What? That is a beautiful song.
And then the second half of my question too, I feel like a lot of students choose this campus because they feel really comfortable with the commuters aspect of it. Do you anticipate this housing, like is the intention to bring in more like traditional students, or like what does campus culture look like around that? I think that's been a concern of mine.
Really? Well, I feel like first of all, there's 19,000 students at MSU Denver, and they'll have 550 beds, 570 beds on this campus. So it's not all students, right? But I do think it will create a different sense of belonging for some, that I think will also probably be easier for student government to get people involved and kind of tentacled out. That combined with, you know, we get something good done at the Tivoli, you'll have more people wanting to be on campus versus just coming and going to their classes, which I think is another piece. What I'd really like to see is, I mean, the main problem we're trying to solve is that it's expensive to live close to campus. And so we have people compared to the 1970s and 1980s, you know, commuting from, I mean, I'm sure you guys do, Thornton or Parker. We have people that commute from Colorado Springs, a lot of places, or there's, you know, still, but if you could live closer in, then it makes it for a more affordable kind of environment. So that's the main thing. I think, you know, in terms of will it change the culture? I don't know. It's a good question. What do you think, Will? It'll totally change the culture?
I think it will change the culture, but I think it's a good change. And I think a lot of the ways that the culture may shift, our commuter students will actually benefit.
Yeah.
So a livelier campus at all hours of the day, I think it makes it more flexible, makes it more interesting to be on campus. It's of course new dining facilities on the first floor, and we've had many conversations in this room about our thoughts on food.
We have many conversations about food, and we have many conversations about how hard it is to get students to show up for stuff.
Yeah. So I
Also,
think
students that live on campus the first couple of years, then they move off campus, they tend to stay more engaged. So then you'll have, I mean, vast majority of students will be coming and going, but I think it kind of primes the pump for an improved kind of environment.
Will, online.
Other one. Coach.
Yeah. Speaking of food and, knowing how essential that is to learning, I don't hear quite often what the plan is around feeding these the students in the housing. And I was wondering what kind of ideas was higher administration just bouncing around. Are you guys thinking of like a food plan similar to how CU Denver has one?
Yes. We're not just kicking ideas around. We have an idea that we're actually executing. Will?
Yeah.
Will is the lead on
So,
it too.
I think I can share that. I will share in this room, but I will just ask that you not maybe sing it from the rafters yet. We haven't signed anything, but we are looking at partnering with CU Denver. And so students in our residence hall, and particularly, MSU Denver students, you can buy meal plans through CU Denver now. And so working in that space where you would have access to their all-you-can-eat dining hall in City Heights. And then putting more campus eateries on that meal plan so that if students want to buy those, they can. In the Summit House on the first floor, there's sort of two different areas. So area one on the Walnut Street side, the Tivoli Quad side, we're looking at more of a grab and go style, like a convenience store. So think, 2:00 in the morning, you want frozen pizza, there's frozen pizza down there. But if you want to grab a cup of coffee, a bagel, a pastry, maybe a salad, lunch, you can do that too. And on the Auraria Parkway side, we're still playing with some concepts, but looking to have something that students would love, faculty and staff would love, and all those people going to Ball Arena would love to stop through and underwrite some of our costs. What has been really great, and I can't say this strongly enough, CU Denver, MSU Denver, and AHEC, shoulder to shoulder on this dining question. I think it's going to be a really cool collaboration.
AHEC really is working towards a campus-wide better food situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, divisionally, yeah, so. Okay. Question, Will.
We have 7 minutes left. We're gonna go to Faye.
Kind of tangential question building off that one that we just had. Would it be required for students living in the dorms, first year or otherwise, to purchase a meal plan, or has there been thought around what those requirements and other expenses students living there can expect?
Will's nodding his head.
Yeah, we intentionally did not build the building with kitchens, which
They're down the hall.
there are some kitchens, there are communal kitchens.
Yeah.
On the 3rd floor. But every suite doesn't have its own kitchen, or everyone doesn't have its own kitchen. 2 reasons. One, we think that this building will be more appealing to first year and second year students who probably want the more traditional plan option. 2, putting kitchens in every room makes the building a lot more expensive. And so it keeps the rental rates down. And then, yes, for students who live in the building, they will be required. Which also means we have to make sure that we're offering the nutrition, dietary restrictions that meet our students' needs.
Dalton.
So this collaboration with CU, like the only traditional dining hall will still be in City Heights.
Yep.
Do they have the capacity? Do you
They
think?
do, yeah. So when you open, sorry.
Yeah, he's.
I bought permission. Lesson number 1, always ask your boss permission. Yes, because we would be opening up our facility to the CU students as well. And so right now, City Heights, Qdoba, Einstein's, I think they have a coffee shop, are all on their meal plan. That's the only things on their meal plan. And so our plan would open up Summit House, Dasbog, potentially even Degree. And then AHEC runs the food operations in this building and the other classroom buildings. And so if we put all of that into the meal plan and a shared service agreement, then we think looking at full campus there is capacity. But yeah, that was an early question we had to answer.
I want us to shift topics because we have a few more minutes. Is that okay with people? Okay, well, you brought up policy, and I think this is the big thing that sort of conversed about, especially around like the immigrant advocacy ICE side of things. One thing we called for, TSEC called for last year, was the passage of that procedure you told us about with from the SSV, and also the rave alert system being used to talk about like if ICE comes to campus using the rave alert system, and if there's rumors of ICE coming to campus or being on campus, dispelling those with the rave alert system. I'm curious what you've heard from AHEC on that side of things, and also if there's a potential for MSU communications to
Have their
sort of take up the task of notification if ICE does come to campus, or if there's a big rumor about ICE coming to campus and needing to dispel that.
Now, to dispel rumors, yeah. I mean, this is, like I said earlier, communication is the hardest part of leadership, right? Rave alerts have certain like legal boundaries that you're only supposed to use them for super emergency things. So that's just like the reality. And then there's just an array of other tricks and tips and ways that we try to get the word out. I have a thing with the comms team that we should be first and fast with the truth. So when there are rumors spreading around, they'll try to get that out. It's usually going to be on social media. We don't have like a mass texting capacity. We do for
We use it in.
What's that?
We use it in.
I'm just for enrollment. We should talk about whether that's something we would piggyback on for issues like that. So if it's technically capable, I mean, usually if there's something really important, we get it out on all channels, right? We've used, now that I think about it, we have used that for like, I don't know, trying to think of like tabletop exercises. I mean, during the pandemic, yeah. We had to close the campus. We used all those things. So I think it may already be in place. And in terms of like nipping rumors in the bud, for sure. I can't give you an if then on every scenario because that would be unrealistic. But my guiding principle is to be first and fast with the truth and to not generate panic. Like when things are not, one of the rules of communications is that you give people concrete things that are happening and also like what you're supposed to do about it, right? So.
Would that be like a question for University of Communications and Marketing and for operations?
So, I mean, if it's a big emergency, you're looking at it, right? Me, Ed, the comms team, and we're very deliberate about like, we come together, the way we manage emergencies. For instance, we have our own way to communicate with each other when things are happening, no matter where you are, on like a kind of a WhatsApp thing, or whatever. We can do that. And then, or we come in and we huddle up and we try to not rush to bad decisions, right? And so communications is always a huge part of whatever that exercise would be. So I can't say the policy is to get the word out. I can't say we would do this and we would do that in a particular scenario. Do you know what I mean? You don't know. We really do worry about misinformation and like confusing people. So we've learned lessons over the years in higher ed in general. There were some people that say, we haven't put any messages out. Why not? Because we don't know anything yet. Well, why don't you just say that? I mean, that actually helps. People want to know. Like we're not just asleep at the wheel. We have heard the rumors of a busted pipe on the other side of the campus, or we've heard blah, blah, blah. We're investigating it, sort of stand by. So now we have a thing where, with some sort of periodicity during a emergency or a contingency, we'll make sure that we say something. We coordinate with AHEC on it too, and CU and CCD, try to make sure that they're not saying stuff that we're not saying. We also try really hard to communicate with the Denver police if there's something like that going on. And we don't always, sometimes they get ahead of us, you know, and they'll put stuff on, DPD will put something on social media and we're like, catch up. But, you know, it's gotten better, I think. Do you want to add anything to that, Ed? You're usually at the point.
The only thing I will say is while we'll mention that there is a text communication to students, there's not an all enterprise text message system for MSU Denver that includes faculty and staff.
It's for students.
It's just for students. It doesn't include faculty and staff. So we don't have that capability currently.
Well, we should think about it. I mean, usually if there's not a lot of things where we would want to message that the campus wouldn't also want to message if it was a serious rave quality issue set.
We are out of time.
I could take. I'm out of time. You guys have an agenda here. I can see.
Great. Thank you so much for coming.
Okay. One of the other issues that I wanted to sort of put in your bonnet is about elections. You know, so what kind of things will student government be doing to sort of get out the vote, get information out there? There are a lot of people that are working on things like election integrity and, you know, making sure that rumors aren't out there. For instance, if you mail in your ballot, you know, do it early, don't mail it, drop it in, you know, things like that, like how we can work together to help the community get the word out. You guys been thinking about any of that? It's great.
I don't think I've started. You're talking about like
Elections.
like not TSEC, but
Not
like
TSEC election.
state and federal elections.
You can get out the vote for that too.
Yeah, like there's a couple. Yeah. Okay. I don't think we've taken up that as a question yet. But I think we probably
project.
should.
For
Area votes, I believe, is someone we've collaborated with in the past. I think we should.
with Parmalee.
Yeah.
You know that MSU Denver, or was it the entire area campus? I think it was MSU Denver, had the highest voter turnout among college students in the entire country in 2016. And that doesn't just happen. So something to think about. So this will be the midterm elections this year. So, and we're electing a new governor. So bringing the governor to candidates to campus and having conversation.
It's Bennett and Weiser. Is that the
Once I said that, what?
Bill Weiser and Michael Bennett? Is that the two
On the
main-
Democratic side, Phil Weiser and Michael Bennett will run a primary.
Yeah.
And then they will run, and that happens in
June.
or earlier than that, like maybe even May. We don't even know. This is how pathetic it is.
Oh my.
The primary is important because a lot of people think that whoever wins the primary will actually hit the governorship, but whoever wins the primary will run against the Republican nominee who is looking like it might be somebody like Barb Kirkmeyer. And in any case, then that election will be in November. So
I think we should definitely talk to CMEI about possibly co-hosting an event around that.
yeah,
Maybe.
I mean, I'll tell you what, politicians listen to students. You're like a secret. You don't realize it, but they do, right? And so.
In fact, I think Congressman Joe Neguse was in student government.
Oh, big time.
At CU Boulder.
He and Leslie
Eric, yep.
Herod were in student government together, and they credit that experience with launching their careers. It's Joe Neguse is the congressman from Boulder. CU Boulder, or the Boulder area, yeah. So anyway, student government, get involved in government. What's wrong with that? I think. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck on midterm.
Thank you. Can I just share some information? The voter education committee always loves to have students participate. So we have students who are employed to do a lot of education. So yes, if anybody on the committee would like to, or in TSAC would like to join, I am part of that committee. Just ask and we'll get you back to.
On that, actually, in a meeting with the provost, there's one of his, is it chief of staff or one of his vice provosts or something is leading up, I think that at MSU Denver. I forget her name.
Elizabeth Parmalee?
Yes.
Yes, we're all on the committee together.
I think, yeah, that's definitely a good resource we should definitely tap into too. So, anyway. I want to give the floor back to you, Tony.
I said my piece, and I'm just, are there questions?
I certainly do, but I'll see hands. gonna make it painfully silent while I wait for him. Okay, I'm gonna ask mine. Sorry, I want to make sure I give equal more time to other people. There's obviously we're hearing from student orgs. I help run a student org as well as I've talked to many different org officers and people. This lack of funding for the next few months really sucks. I'm very curious, what is the because in thinking of solutions, what is the amount that you guys have like on like a monthly basis approved over this year, like an average?
Okay, I have that data on my computer that I did bring down here. So I don't think it would, and a monthly average would be helpful only because there are ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
We have a lot of, so for example, end of the semester, everybody's doing an end of the semester something. So April and May, November, December are always huge. And then September folks are just getting started, but they're doing the recruitment. So and then there's kind of small, well, everybody's trying to get their classes together. And so I don't know that a month to month kind of average is helpful. I think it's more helpful to think about the average request is somewhere, I think on the low side, with those like food things, we're talking about $50. And on the big side with really big travel and things like that, we're talking anywhere between $500 and $1,000 per request. So it really depends on what's happening. And I think that's something you also would want to consider of like, what would be your max and what kinds of things. Is it worth it for you to do all of this so an org can order a $35 pizza from Cosmos? That's on you. And that's what I mean, like the return on investment. So, but I can provide that. I can send that to Keegan so she can share it. We pulled it for the SAB presentation, so I do have that data.
The campus event fund, that's the name of the fund we're talking about. The campus event funding fund has run out of money. Does that include the money that's allocated for student staff workers, or are they still able to continue working, or have they had to be?
We are continuing them to work, but that is where they've typically gotten paid from. And Stephen has graciously taken on the rest of the year. Hopefully we can maybe get some salary savings back from vacant positions, but at this time CMEI is paying.
But we expect the workers that are still working at, there's like 2 or 3, I've talked to them.
There's 4, but yes,
There's more.
well, one is Greek life.
Okay.
And so he's financial, or he's
Okay.
works it.
So we expect those workers to still have the same amount of work they've had for the rest of the semester. Okay, why would we create why would we create an interim funding process in TSAC to give this money out instead of just giving you the money to continue doing the work that you do? Like, I don't know how much money we have, because that's a question for our budget people, but if we have $12,000 or 13 or whatever it is left over, why don't we just give that? Why don't we just say, hey, Tom,
I'm down, but
your team is wonderful.
it's on you.
Go give this, and we can set some sort of like guideline on maybe, set a lower maximum or whatever. Why don't we just do that? Because that feels like a much more efficient process to me. Anyway, I talked a lot. I'm gonna put hands up, Eva.
I think you're going in the same direction I was. I feel like in some regards, like you're probably more equipped to handle some of this stuff. Like, what can we do? I guess, is that what we could do most effectively to work with you? Or is there a way that we could maybe, since it's technically still our funding, but we'd maybe be like, I also had a similar idea of like giving some of that to you. Like we could set up like having you come meet with us sometimes to like check in with that or something like that. I don't know. Thoughts on that?
Okay.
I was also gonna say that I did find value in that idea though of TSAC also hosting some of those orgs and being like, hey, we're like renting out this space, you can come grab a table, we'll buy the food, and like having that as a way for TSAC to engage with students and student orgs so they know who we are, they know kind of what we do, and use that for both orgs to have outreach, but then also for TSAC to do some of that outreach. I think is a good idea for an event, if not a way that we are funding things this semester.
I'll see hands again. Okay, so sorry, I just have so much to talk. So if there's some world where we have $12,000 to essentially allocate, would it be a possibility for you guys just to reopen the usual form? And how long do you think that would last? If we had $12,000, what do you expect that to last?
Yeah. So one, I think if you all voted and wanted that to happen, then that's something we can facilitate. I think I want to answer Emma's question as far as I mean, if I were thinking of it in that context, I would say, one, we would want to tell every student organization who got funded that at this point you were funded by student government, so that you all do get that credit. And two, maybe have somebody from your budget committee or something that, you know, has access to review the requests as well. I think if we were to do this, and I think even for you all, if you're doing this, I think it would make sense to set, you know, organizations last year were eligible for total grant of money, $3,800 per academic year. Most of them have not gotten anywhere close to that. I think they're the only one that has even gotten close to that number. So there's that. But I think you could set a cap if we set a different kind of cap, a little lower cap. For March, April, we're really talking about, 2 months. So try not to have them program the last week of, or the first week of May, just because so we'd really only be talking about 2 months. So I do think, let's say it was $12,000. I think we could make that 10 weeks, right? We're giving away $1,000 a week.
Sorry, I don't want to continue to just go back and forth with those other hands, but I do have more to say, but, okay, Cynthia. Or Dr. Barone, sorry, I'm sorry. I know you had been working and looking into you guys' budget over in
my budget, yep.
Equity and student engagement. I'm trying to remember your department. Have you found anything yet?
Yes, we found some funds. There are some funds, but we were kind of trying to figure out where we're at with the current funding requests that have gone through and some that are pending and some that are approved, just to make sure that we're covering those. And then once we know that we're covering those, because those are in the queue, then wanting to determine how much do we have left to offer for the remainder of the semester. That's why the applications have been on pause.
Okay, real. Well, look, I would certainly propose the idea, which it would need to be a budget amendment on our part if we were to give money to like that, which would be earliest next week that we could vote on it. I really want to see these applications open. That, but I know you guys do too, but I want to figure out the best way to facilitate that. Patrick.
And Tony, were these funded for the student organizations, would it also account for like their travel for conferences as well?
So I think if right now we have anything that was pending that was travel related, we did let them know, because travel typically benefits 2 or 3 students. In the, you even saw it with Lambda Theta Nu, where if we have what funding is left and is out there, we want it to benefit the largest group of students. And so like Finance Club is a great example. They found out that we were in this space. They were like, we withdraw, we'll do it next year. And so talking to some of the other groups, there's only 2 other groups that we're asking to travel, and one has a significant budget of their own. And so we're encouraging them to use that. All that to say, I think with 2 months left, we always ask 30 days notice for travel. So really, we would probably be really squeaking by to try and do through my program any more travel funding.
Stephen?
I know Irvy's not here, so Patrick, if you're okay, can I share some of the numbers that I shared with you and Irvy from the last meeting?
Sure.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that if TSAC went down this route, you all knew what you were doing, how much money you had to the point now. So first thing I will say is your current roll forward where it stands from last year is $17,086. That's just your roll forward. And your allocation from SAB last year was $150,410. As of last Wednesday at around 9 a.m., your current expenses to date were $72,100.47, leaving about $78,309.53. If, and working with Irvy and Patrick, if we were to estimate out based on that number where you would all be by, let's say, the end of the semester, you have to estimate about $27,000 for your own stipends. That's March, April, and May. You have about $4,000, give or take-ish, for student employment. Well, I'm sorry, no, that's incorrect. I apologize. $9,800 for student hourly for the remainder of the year. If you all do food for finals and you do it as you did in the fall for 2 days, you estimate around $1,400 for that program because of food costs, massage therapists, that sort of thing. You still have about $4,000 to take in club funding remaining that you all had remaining, or if you weren't going to take this on, that's how much you'd have left, give or take. Additional events and programs, Casa de Paz, if you all decide to do something for Roadrunners After Dark, something like that, $3,000. Doesn't have to be those programs. It could be Know Your Rights training. Remaining elections, things that we need to pay for elections, about another $2,500. If you decide to do the Stoles and Cords thing, you're talking about another $1,000. And then inauguration ceremony, we could do it on the lighter side of around $2,000. That's going to take us pretty close to around $51,000. So you'll have between $25,000 and $26,000 remaining in your budget, not taking into consideration roll forward. And those are numbers directly from CMEI's budget analyst, Chiwan. I had her run the numbers. And then I estimated based on what I know that you all most likely will or probably will spend. So just putting that out there.
Okay.
Happy to repeat that.
I want to know that it is 5:22. We're 2 minutes into our new business, which is related to this. So it's perfect that this worked out. So there is two things. There's a proposal from Irby on an expedited process, and then there is I want to initiate a budget reconsideration. So I want to let Irby go first. Did you want to present on your proposal before we continue deliberating, or what did you want?
That was pretty much what Steven said. I just wanted to know that in budget meeting last week, we decided to write a resolution to cover all those points. And I feel like this is a really important decision to make, since a lot of organizations have to come like twice to present to TSAC. So it's like, in a way, only budget committee can make approvals, because it's like 5 council members plus delegates. So a lot of people are reviewing all those proposals. So we are like making them present twice, which is like also making them, like wasting their time kind of in a way, I would say. Because since I know Susanna's travel thing is happening after 2 weeks, so they don't have a lot of time to buy tickets. So a lot of things need to be considered to support the orgs. So I just wanted to say that everything can come up to the budget committee to decide which organizations are we're providing the approvals to, and we can have those updates in the meeting, in the budget committee updates. So like all the recommendations are in the document. If you go, it's like basically what Steven exactly mentioned, are one of those things that I am like referring to here, to expedite the funding process.
Okay. I guess raise hands if you have a point, but okay, Nathan, go ahead.
So for expediting it, I recommend maybe we should have some sort of like guidelines for submission or guidelines for presentation. Because it seems like that everyone that presented Wednesday also had to follow up with things that they were missing. So guidelines, in my opinion, would be absolutely fantastic.
Yep. I think this got popped into the chat during this meeting today, and so they should be there for us to review. I hold a bit of a different opinion. I don't think we need to create an expedited TSAC process at this moment. I think we need to give our money to the people that do this job, which is the student org funding team. And so I would really like to write a resolution for us to pass next week to allocate that money with certain guidelines and certain like sort of limits to send over, and allow the student employees that we're still going to continue paying to do that and to still process requests. We're looking at a funding problem. I don't think we're looking at a need for a new process. That's my perspective on it. Emma.
Sorry, I stepped out for a second. I think I would agree with that. And I think there's a way to write that resolution that TSAC still has a lot of involvement while also having somebody who does this as their job too. Like, I don't know how to host an event necessarily, like with the best capacity, or how to give a student org like those guidelines on their best capacity, and maybe do a combination of the, renting out a space for everybody to do their stuff while also, allowing people to still function. I think there's a really good middle ground somewhere, and written in maybe a resolution.
I think that our funding process that we've used in the past is geared towards people that have already used their $3,800 essentially. And so it doesn't make sense to ask the people who have never gotten any money from you guys, but now you guys are out of money to then come to us and sort of try to use that same process. I think it makes sense to fund the campus event fund with our money this year. I think that's the way I want to see it done. And I would be happy to work with Budget Committee and Steven over the next few days to get a proposal ready and out to everyone, hopefully by like Wednesday or Thursday, for us to then pass on next Monday. I'm happy to be a leader in that space. I put on the agenda initiation of a budget reconsideration because I want to take the money from the rainy day fund and possibly even take money from other funds too. I know sustainability might be able to give a little bit of money out of their funds to contribute to this. I imagine PR might have a very small amount too, though I imagine they do have events planned. But I think a budget reconsideration wrapped up into a bill to give money to the campus event fund with certain limits and certain TSAC involved, that would make a lot of sense.
I second that motion.
That's not a motion.
Oh, I thought I had, yeah.
We brought this in a resolution, but I want to test the waters before I make a motion for a budget reconsideration, which does have to pass by 2/3 before the budget committee can consider that. Tony.
I just want to make sure if you're gonna do a resolution, I love this, by the way, this is amazing. But I think if you're gonna do a resolution, just kind of having in mind that having next week's meeting is kind of your hard thing, because like you said, I don't want to keep telling the orgs, oh, we're working through it, we're trying to find something, we're working through it, and then but keep pushing that down the road. And so just wanting to kind of put that caveat out there.
I'll go to you in just one second, Patrick. I think if we pass this on next Monday, I want to have like an email preloaded at 5:30 for you to send out to the orgs and say, we are back and open now. You could say, hey, could be an email we write together that's like on courtesy of TSAC or however you guys want to do that, but like we're back open at this moment. And also doesn't mean I don't want to not explore the funding that you might possibly have available, because I don't know that our funding is going to match exactly what we need. That's a question for us to look at this week, but I would love to explore all of those options, and I want it to happen within 7 days. Patrick, did you still have a hand?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so just to make sure, if we were to like give that amount, that would go for like district organizations for their current funding that they have, like that they currently have available, or is it like a funding request for events?
We get to decide that, but I think it'd be future requests is what I would.
Yeah, future.
I would write
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah, the current requests that have already been put out have been managed. We're just trying to,
Yeah.
it's like, we're working through that piece. But we closed the funding application once we realized we were there. And so there are no pending requests that haven't been, that we haven't been managing. The only thing you may get on Roadrunner Link, there is a link right now, but it is for organizations that already have funds in their fundraised.
And for, so this would is, if you get the funds, this wouldn't be applicable for students that would want to go and travel.
Yeah.
We get to write that.
Well, you could write that. You could
So we get to decide all of that, and.
It would just go less far. What you have to contribute would not go as far. That would be my suggestion.
Okay, we have 1 minute left. I'm gonna make a motion for a budget reconsideration. My motion is not tying us into one specific thing, though. This is just telling the budget committee to look at the money and reallocate something at this point. So I move for a budget reconsideration in light of the campus event funding running out of money.
I second that.
Okay, and for process, I do want to allow debate at this moment, and also this needs 2/3 to pass, FYI. Is there any debate? Seeing none. Ooh,
I think.
Patrick, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand.
No, it's okay.
Okay, Patrick.
Yeah, mine's not too much of a debate, but it's just more of like in consideration of like, I'm all for it. However, we currently have student organizations that are asking us for that current travel. And if that's the case, if that's something we can implement and write in the resolution to like kind of categorize for those students, because that is something that even with the campus event funding that has been last year and in the previous cycles, we've always had students come and ask us for student travel funding regardless. So that's something we can take into account, definitely. I'd rather just have us like keep that in mind rather than just stay silent.
Okay, I'm going to close debate because of time, and we are going into voting. Emma, yes, no, abstain. Faye.
Yes.
Irby.
No.
Maria, Steffi,
Yes.
Sky, I say yes. Patrick,
Yes.
Susanna,
Abstain.
Rowan.
Yes.
Online, Will,
Yes.
Matthew,
Abstain.
okay, with 7, 4, 1 no, and 3 abstentions, that passes by more than 2/3 majority. We will reconsider the budget at the next budget meeting. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn from Irby, second from Faye. Is there any opposition? We are adjourned. Thank you all. If you want to come to the Robo Run Around Task Force meeting, it's right now in the TSAC office. See you all there. If you want to come.